Alert is back, and as it is weekend, we will kick off with a guide. This guide will be all about the Mutsuki, the Tier 6 Japanese destroyer. The first true Japanese destroyer that does not depend on sea clubbing and spamming torpedoes, but it depends on a good understanding of the game mechanics and your own willingness to expand your knowledge about the game. In this guide, I will take the following steps. First, I will explain everything you need in port. After that, I will discuss the strengths and weaknesses of the Mutsuki. First, your opponents. It's key in how you will play this ship. Then I will discuss a little bit about the theory of gameplay on the Mutsuki. And last, I will show you some examples of gameplay I had on the Mutsuki, and which for me was a tremendous fun to play. So let's start with everything you need to know in the port. How to progress with the Mutsuki. Unlocking Hull B will give you access to the better torpedoes, which are in my opinion the main focus of the Mutsuki. So after that upgraded hull, go for the better torpedoes. When you get those, go for Hull C, as it will give you an increase in AA. It does give you a decrease in firepower, but its firepower should not be your focus. The last two upgrades should be the main battery upgrade and then the gunfire control system upgrade. Progressing towards ammunition and consumables. As a general rule, you will only be shooting HE. Furthermore, I do not see the need to use any of the premium consumables. As for the upgrades, these are the ones I would recommend. In the first slot, Torpedo Tubes Modification 1. In the third slot, Steering Gears Modification 1. The following are in my opinion too expensive for the tier, but if you want to get every upgrade, then go for these. In the second slot, AA Guns Modification 2, and in the fourth slot, Steering Gears Modification 2. For the camo, go for the first type, which will reduce your detectability. As signal flags, the only true signal flag beneficial to this destroyer is Shara Mike. It gives you extra speed and it always comes in handy when getting to strong tactical positions. As for crew skills, these are the ones you want. If you want more information around these choices, please check out my 3-minute video about it. Now we are progressing towards the second chapter, strengths and weaknesses. First of all, the strong points about the Mutsuki. The strongest is definitely the detectability range. This is an insane 5.9 kilometers from the surface and 3.1 kilometers from the air. This means that tier for tier you can outspot anyone on the battlefield. Another strong point is the mobility of the Mutsuki. With its top speed of 37.7 knots, you're definitely one of the faster ships on the battlefield. Its turning circle radius of 550 meters is also quite good. The third strong point would be the torpedoes. This is the first destroyer in which your torpedo range definitely outranges your detectability range by a lot. In this case, a tremendous 4.1 kilometers. And now the weaknesses of the Mutsuki. And this will maybe be a surprise for you guys, but one of the weaknesses are also the torpedoes. Here you can see a list of the reaction times your opponents will have on the torpedoes. As you can see, this most likely will also explain why the Minakaze felt so much better than the Mutsuki. Stock, the enemy will have an amazing 12.2 seconds to react to your torpedo spread. Upgraded, this will only be reduced to 11.7 seconds. This will not change if you progress all the way to the Shimakaze, so better get used to it. Another key weakness of the Mutsuki is its guns. Here is a DPM table of your guns compared to the other destroyers which it will likely meet. As you can see, you should never try to 1 versus 1 a US destroyer with your guns. Evenly skilled captains will wreck your destroyer. The last true weakness of the ship is its health pool. It is the lowest of its tier with only 11,600 HP when upgraded. So making mistakes will cost you a lot of your HP. And now we have arrived at chapter 3, your opponents. Let us start with the other destroyers in the game. As you could already see, the damage per minute of the Mutsuki is horrendous. So try not to engage on them in a 1 versus 1. Let your teammates help you, as only the Minikaze has the same detectability range as you do. You outspot the rest of the destroyers by almost a kilometer or even more. For the cruisers, I can be really swift. Do not waste your time on them, as these can wreck your ship in seconds, and they are nimble enough to dodge your torpedoes if they drank enough coffee in real life. Now the interesting part for us starts. The battleships. These ships are your main target, with stock rudder shift times of US battleships being between 25 and 27 seconds. This is your main focus. Stock rudder shift times of IGM battleships are between 20 and 23 seconds. Fully upgraded, these are between 16 and 19 seconds for both the US and the Japanese battleships. So in short, if you see a stock battleship, go for it. The last class we discuss are carriers. They are in several ways a threat to you. They can spot you for their team, dive bombers can hit you easily, and a truly skilled experienced captain can even hit you with his torpedoes. That is why concealing yourself is so important. Chapter 4: Theory of the gameplay on the Mutsuki. The first and most important rule: do not get spotted at all. Let the enemy always guess where you are, so you can always be the surprising threat. To reach this, increase the size of your minimap with the plus key. Check my replays, there is never a small minimap. Situational awareness is key when playing the Japanese destroyers. Furthermore, engage your target between the ranges of 6 and 10 kilometers. They will not spot you, but you can damage them. Thirdly, focus on the easier to hit targets, battleships. Also, avoid engaging other destroyers and run away from cruisers if you do not have any backup or you're not sure you will kill the target for 100% certainty. To give you some examples, this is how I check my possibilities at the start of each game. Here I see 4 easy targets, the battleships. Furthermore, I see that the only enemy destroyer is a Farragut, which can be seen from miles away. That does mean I have the spotting advantage at all times. With their 2 carriers, I have to be careful and always check the minimap where their planes are. In this second lineup, my only concern is the enemy Minikaze. He can detect me at the same range I detect him. So key for me is to check where he is in the beginning of the battle. After that, I have free play and should focus on those battleships. As a third example, which is kind of extreme, but it does happen, a lot of destroyers. So I should watch out for each and every single one of them. If you want to check how I did during this game, check this video out for a replay and analysis. With all the theory behind the Mutsuki, here is some gameplay for you. Here are some different situations in which I show what I've discussed the last 10 minutes. In the first clip, I make use of the limits of concealment of the Mutsuki. At 5.9 kilometers, I will get spotted, and I make sure I do not get into that range. I'm a little bit greedy for damage. I shoot one salvo at the cruiser that's gonna go behind the island. The result, of course, is extremely satisfying. Just see that cruiser disappear with only 2 torpedoes. A very important aspect is target selection, and here's a battleship. Equally as important, never shoot your torpedoes when you're behind an ally. If you want to try this, you need to communicate with him. In this case, I type in chat and hope he responds. As soon as I see him steering away from the path of my torpedoes, I fire. Only fire when you're completely sure you will not hit your ally. Do not take risks with this. And if you have the opportunity, of course, thank him. Hiding behind an island to surprise the enemy is also a valid tactic. Just remain unspotted, so it will be a complete surprise. In this case, it was a bit unfortunate that there still was a destroyer behind me. Fortunately, the battleship was not paying that much attention. If you are spotted, try to hide behind something. In this case, a nice island where the battleship cannot reach me. He needs to come around the corner to shoot me, and luckily for me, he does. I hope you liked this guide of the Mutsuki. If you did, feel free to share, like and subscribe. If you have any questions regarding the game, feel free to ask them in the YouTube comments section or just hop by on my stream. Suggestions for the next week guide are also more than welcome. See you on the battlefield, guys.